Part 1. Manual Information Systems. There are three main different storage systems for manually held information. These are lateral. This is where the files are held in hanging wallets in rows, in large, often open wall cabinets. The suspended files will have a tab which will state the name of the file. Vertical. This is where the files are placed in drawers in suspension pockets which hang from side to side. And again, the top of the suspension pocket will have a tab to indicate the name of the file. Horizontal. These are used for storing small quantities of documents lying flat in shallow drawers and are found in a variety of sizes from A4 to A1. There are also four main types of classification system that are used when filing. These allow us to quickly access the file. The four main types are alphabetical, numerical, alphanumerical, and chronological. We will now go through each of these in a little more detail. In an alphabetical filing system, documents will be placed in alphabetical order. This is by name of the company or the person concerned, by location, or by subject. In a numerical system, information is stored by number, for example an invoice or an employee number. A separate alphabetical card index of names is required to provide the key to the file number. This system is easy to expand as new files are simply assigned the next number. In an alphanumerical system, information is filed first of all alphabetically and then by number, for example A1, A2, A3, etc. Again, a card index is required in order to be able to interpret it and use it successfully. In a chronological system, information is stored in date order. This is used when the date is the most important information, for example on a bank statement. The most recent date is usually at the front. Cross-referencing is where a document could be in one or more files or different locations. A decision is made on where the most appropriate place is for that document. A card is placed in the other locations giving reference to where the original has been filed. This saves the document being copied to each file. Individual documents should not be removed from files. If they are required, a photocopy should be given instead so as not to split the file up. When a whole file is needed to be borrowed, a card should be put in its place stating the date, the name, and contact details of the borrower. This avoids time being wasted looking for files which you may think have been lost. In some organisations, a central filing department where all the records will be kept and controlled by filing clerks is set up. This is used in larger organisations, for example hospitals. And, when files are required, application must be made to the department. This is useful where records are likely to be used by more than one department. No matter which classification system is used or the way in which it is stored, information must be filed accurately. Failure to correctly file documents makes them difficult or impossible to find. Failure to find a document can be expensive and time-consuming. It is important that a filing procedure is established for any manual system to ensure that no documents can be lost, and this is sometimes where a centralized system can help. If you notice a file is missing, you should check if someone else has taken it. Check the files nearby in case of misfiling. Report it missing and work with others to find it. Overfull files should be split into 2 or 3 separate files and clearly labelled to show what they contain. Filing should be done on a regular basis to safeguard documents. Storage should be regularly addressed for adequacy. Part 2. Archiving. Archiving is the storage of files when they are no longer in regular use. Archiving of manual data should follow organizational procedure and any legal requirements. When archiving electronic information, be sure that the organizational procedures are still followed. You may delete documents if appropriate, but if in error, it can usually be retrieved from the recycle bin. Organizations are likely to have procedures for archiving that depend on why they need to be archived and the legal requirements for retention. There are four main options when archiving. They are manual storage, microfilming, digital archiving systems, and picture archiving and communication systems, PACS. We will now go through each of these in a little more detail. When archiving hard copy documents, files are boxed and indexed and stored securely. This may be on-site, but increasingly it is off-site, in storage managed by specialist companies, owing to the amount of space that is required. Microfilming is an analog system where documents are photographed and stored in miniature on microfiche, a sheet of film. It requires a reader to magnify the documents in order to read them. Files are indexed but have to be searched for manually. This can be time-consuming, having to photograph all the documents. However, it requires very little space, as many files can be stored on the sheets of film. This also allows instant access to files, rather than going through a procedure to request and find them. A digital archiving system will allow paper documents to be scanned and stored electronically. All electronic files can be converted to a format by which all can be centrally indexed, searched, sorted, and managed. There are many organizations offering this service as a business solution to file storage. PACS systems are largely in use in the medical industry for electronic sharing and storage of images, for example X-rays or scans. It is an electronic picture archiving and communication system that has been developed in an attempt to provide economical storage, rapid retrieval of images, access to images acquired with multiple modalities, and simultaneous access on multiple sites. If files are no longer required, then they may be destroyed, usually by shredding. There are organizations that specialize in the disposal of bulk, confidential material. Organizations will usually have a file retention policy. This is the policy that states how long files must be retained before they are moved to archive or destroyed, and it will state the procedures for doing so. There may be legal restrictions on the length of time the files can be kept, depending on their content.